Wondering exactly which legendaries are the very best in Rise of Kingdoms? Well, in this video, we're going to give you the exact order in which you should invest in legendary commanders. Whether you're just looking for some general guidance or you want to focus your account on cavalry, infantry, or archers, we'll have a list specifically for you. So stick around in this video for everything you need to invest in the very best legendaries in Rise of Kingdoms. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, a sponsored content creator for Rise of Kingdoms, and it's no coincidence that we have Esong as the very first commander that we're showing you. Yeah, no matter what you do, everybody's going to go and invest in Esong. If you like Rise of Kingdoms guides that help you get value and smash your enemies, hey, consider smashing that subscribe button for daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. In this video, we're not going to go through all of the background information about how to get legendary commanders. We're not going to go through all of the background information about when the legendary commanders are going to arrive, although I'll put up on the screen an approximate timing for when they might show up in your kingdom, and certainly this is accurate in the order in which they're going to show up to your kingdom. And if you want more information about all of that, I'll have a card up in the top. You can watch that at the end of this video. What we're going to give you in this video is the exact sequence of legendaries. Where do I think you should start? And where do I think you should go next in order to specialize your account or to position yourself to have a really solid foundation as a launching point to figure out later, hey, I want to specialize. So let's start with that general guidance. And as a reminder, we always have timestamps in our videos, so you can jump to whichever portion of the video you're most interested in. The general guidance after you've invested in Esong, and yeah, you need to do this commander. If skill lock is a thing by the time this commander is out, the ability to basically lock down a skill and control where your skill ups are going, then I would recommend having a 5-5-1-5 until he's then expertised. Those numbers are referring to the skill levels in order. And if you want more information about the potential skill lock feature that's on its way into Rise of Kingdoms, I'll have a card up in the top. You can check out that detailed video. Now, after you've done your Esong, the next project you're going to do is absolutely slam dunk, no question, Alexander the Great. Expertise him. You need to expertise him. The dude is great. If you don't expertise him, he's still really good. But Alexander the Great is going to give shields. He's going to shield an ally too. He's going to be reducing the healing of the target, big damage factor. He cares only a little bit about having infantry. Yeah, if you use all infantry, it's better, but I've had really good success putting Alexander the Great as a secondary to other commanders. You could even make him secondary to cavalry commanders like Saladin. It's kind of crazy. So I strongly recommend Alexander the Great, and what that means is at the very start of the game, you've got an Esong Sun Tzu pairing. Very strong. Once you get your Alexander the Great, you'll have an Alexander the Great Esong pairing. Very strong. And I myself had battled with this extensively with my restart project. Oh, really? Come on, game. Come on, keep up with me. I'm trying to make a freaking video. Really? As I was saying, Alexander the Great Esong's really, really good. That is a great launching off point for a lot of different projects. If you wanted to move in the direction of being archer focused, you get Ramses as the next commander after Alexander the Great, and you've got Esong with Ramses. If instead you wanted to make an infantry-focused account, okay, no problem. When Guan shows up on the wheel, boom, you go Guan Alex. I think that is a phenomenal starting investment order, and you are going to find Esong on the Wheel of Fortune, Alexander the Great on the Wheel of Fortune. Yes, these take gems, but save your gems, be ready when they show up, and then boom, get these commanders. I'm not saying you got to max spin every wheel. This is a free-to-play friendly guide, or if you want fully free-to-play friendly, I mean, like, we'll have a few spending things in here, but a free-to-play player can pull down 2 legendaries a year. That's not very many expertised legendaries, but you can do it, and it's worth it. Because, by the way, the meta in the end game is bringing a small number of high-power marches with great equipment, rather than bringing lots of marches where you get kind of wrecked. So the next thing, and I hope that changes, by the way. The next thing I'd recommend if you're going with this general starting point of the Esong with Alexander the Great, if you wanted to go in the cavalry route, I think you're a little less able to make a big jump there. You could save a lot of sculptures and go for Attila Takeda, but the problem is that Attila Takeda come right after Alexander the Great or shortly thereafter, so it's going to be kind of a tough shift. It's going to be kind of a tough shift having enough sculptures to go right into that sort of a project. I think, honestly, the most likely pick for just about everybody will be Guan or Ramses. That's my general guidance. Isong, Alex, then you choose. Guan or Ramses. You can't go wrong. Ramses, you're waiting longer. Guan, you get sooner. They're really good. If skill lock is available, lock the second skill. 5-1-5-5. That's a really good Guan. Expertise him if you want to, but you don't have to at that point. Let's jump now into, on the topic of infantry, some infantry pairings, okay? If you are going to specialize your account in infantry, unless you are a spender, I want you to mostly ignore Richard. Now, I'm not saying Richard's bad. He's actually really good, and he's really good in the early game. However, he loses power over time, whereas other commanders just remain amazing. Isong remains amazing. Start with Isong, not Richard, even if you want to specialize infantry. I know, okay? Then you're going to go and you're going to work on your Alexander the Great. You're going to expertise him. All the same combos I mentioned previously for the prior section. The Isong with Sun Tzu, using all archers. Now it's going to be Alexander the Great with Isong, using all infantry. Once you've got Alexander the Great, you're in very good shape. From there, your next invest is going to be Guan Yu from the Wheel of Fortune. Now, if skill lock is a thing, I told you already, 5-1-5-5 is really good. And that will actually leave you enough sculptures to consider also investing in Leonidas. This is a commander I really wish I could play more with and enjoy in the open field. I just haven't had the sculptures because I've been investing in Garrison and Rally Commanders. However, 5-5-1-5 Leonidas is really good. For almost the same cost as having Guan Yu expertise, you could get Leonidas also in your roster at 5-5-1-5, do Guan Yu at 5-1-5-5, and then you're in really good shape. That gives you a lot of infantry commanders to use, and of course, you could always go and expertise any one of them as you saw fit later down the road. Now, there is one other commander that I need to give another honorable mention to, just like I gave Richard I that honorable mention. That is going to be Constantine. Constantine's a monster. He's a beast. He's fantastic. 5-5-1-1 is really good. 5-5-1-5, even better. He's absolutely fantastic with a small amount of investment. If you are spending, this is where maybe I would encourage you to go for the Richard. I would encourage you to go for the Constantine and do some investment in these. But if you're fully free to play, you go with the Isong, you go with the Alex, then you do Guan, then you do Leo, and you've got a lot of really great options. Expertise legendaries. You don't have to expertise all of them, especially if skill lock's available, but it's going to leave you in a really great position to make some other choices. And if you can, even as a free-to-play, try to unlock that Constantine, and definitely unlock him when Card King comes around, if you can't do it in Mightiest Governor. And do be sure to have Richard I, at least in the roster, unlocked, okay? Have them unlocked, and you can start to make some of your own choices as you get further along with your own account. The next specialization I want to get a look at is archers. I think that starting with Isong, just as I mentioned with the general guidance, is kind of fortuitous for archers, right up until you realize that Edward and Tommy are kind of a bust. Pulling up this diagram again, I mean, you're in some trouble here as an archer-focused player. You've got your Isong, you get him early, and then you got nothing until Ramses. You got like a year of nothing. I'm not saying there's really nothing, because there's an intermediary, and we've already talked about it, and it's phenomenal. Unfortunately, you won't be using archers. You'll be using infantry with Alexander the Great primary and Isong secondary. I know. You'll want to focus on archers. Save your sculptures. You only get about 2 expertise legendaries a year. I want you to have a lot of them so that you start with Isong, you do Alex, and then you'll be the one laughing when Ramses and Artemisia show up. And then you can go expertise both of them, or at least work on them. That's what I would recommend. The challenge, of course, is going to be that Artemisia is going to show up from the Mightiest Governor. She's going to be very difficult to get those sculptures. However, Ramses will be from the Wheel of Fortune. That is much easier. You can start with Ramses. That gives you a Ramses Isong. That is a great place to be. Once you have Ramses and Artemisia, I mean, you could use them both together. You could also use the Alex E-Song. That gives you 2 marches that are really great. Or if you wanted to go kind of all in on an archer plan, you could swap out the Alexander the Great. Technically, you could swap in the El Cid. I don't know that El Cid is actually better, but if you're really going all in on archer units and archer gear, then yeah, that's the route you would go. And you've got 2 really amazing, like I do mean amazing, archer marches. And allow me to be a little bit jealous because I'll tell you, I went on the cavalry plan, and I think that Attila Takeda are really exceptional. Don't get me wrong. But for big brawls and area of effect damage, which is what I want to do, yeah, I'm going to make the argument that the archers are the better play. Now, with that said, let's talk about cavalry. Because cavalry have so many options, and they arrive incrementally in a really nice way. You actually could skip Alexander the Great. Heresy. Heresy, I know. Alexander the Great is going to be easier to do. And, by the way, after you've done your E-Song, because obviously everybody does E-Song, you skip Alexander the Great, you dive right in. You dive right into Saladin. 5, 5, 5, 1. If you can skill lock, you'll lock this right over here. That way you can keep working on these skills over here. Max the first skill first, of course, but then you're working on these skills over here. I think that a Saladin is, honestly, it's going to be worth expertising. And I know that's a little crazy given that you don't have to, but you will absolutely unequivocally notice the extra healing reduction granted by the expertise skill and the extra damage. It's meaningful. You don't have to be leading a rally to get a lot of value from that. Especially, like, honestly, the open field fighting, the extra damage is really good. You only get 1 march. Make it phenomenal. That's always been kind of my philosophy toward games like this. You min-max. You go all in on a strategy. I like the Saladin expertise. The problem is that Saladin's going to be really hard to obtain. So if you're not spending in the game, you could just go E-Song, Alexander the Great, if you don't get a hold of a Saladin unlock, and that's fine. If you do get the Saladin unlock, then you start to work on him. Because your next project will come pretty quickly, actually. Your next project is going to be Attila and Takeda. Now, I know, you may not be able to do both of them. And you might just say, Chisgule, I've already done the Saladin. I'm just going to stick with the Takeda. And that is a fine choice. That is because Saladin Takeda is really good. So it's not a coincidence that I recommended the Saladin earlier. However, if you did miss out on some of the early stuff, hopefully you can go in really heavy on that Attila, get an unlock of the Attila even as a free-to-play, and you use the Attila Takeda combo. Even if you don't get the unlock and you've got to get your Saladin from the Card King, and then you get your Takeda from the Wheel of Fortune, that's fine. You've got a Saladin Takeda, and you're in great shape. The long-term vision I have for you is to be able to field an Attila Takeda while also being able to field a Saladin William. Saladin William is a combination that I absolutely love. It's doing among the most damage of all the combinations I bring to the field, and I've got a lot of options for commanders I can bring to the field, and I'm buffing everybody nearby. Yeah, William, you're a dream, brother. This dude does everything I want in a cavalry commander. He's even got area of effect damage. It's really tiny. We make fun of how small his area of effect damage is. However, in big brawls like you're going to use him in, you're going to hit multiple targets. You're definitely going to hit multiple targets, and you're going to get a ton of value. So that's the play we're setting you up for. You might skip Alex or not, depending on whether or not you unlock Saladin. But you're going to go E-Song, Saladin. We're going to go with Attila and Takeda. And we're going to go with William way down the road. And if you've got to skip around a little bit because you missed something because it's a Mightiest Governor commander, that's fine. You've got options. That's how you would focus on calves. Now, you may be wondering, Chisgule, there's a lot of commanders you did not talk about. I am confused. Why in the world have you not talked about commanders that you can get from gold keys? Commanders like Double C. He's a great commander. He's a great commander. You will probably use him. Minamoto. You got to pay your way to this. Not saying he's not good. In fact, if you're cav focused, there's a really great commander you can buy your way into at the start of the game. It'll give you a lot of options. And yeah, I mean, Minamoto, E-Song, I used it for a while. If it's the best you've got, it's the best you've got. I'm not saying it's the best thing. I'm just saying it's a way to start out strong, if you want, with a legendary commander. But if you're free to play, that's not an option. And the reason why I'm skipping commanders like Charles Martel that are really good, okay? Skipping commanders like Mulan even, is that they come from gold keys. And I know, Chisgule, you show this in a lot of videos, I know. But for those of you keeping track of just how many excess sculptures I have, once you expertise a legendary that comes from gold keys, every sculpture you get from that point on is fully wasted. So I want to encourage you to invest your universal sculptures, your precious universal sculptures, in the commanders you cannot get from those gold keys, so that you do not find yourself in this outrageous situation with 852 extra double C heads, because double C was, I think, the first commander I expertised because, well, at the time there weren't new commander releases every 2 months, right? So yeah, the game was very different then, okay? So I'm encouraging you to stay away from this. Does that mean you should ever expertise them? Or should I say never expertise them? Of course not. Once you get closer to expertising them, then and only then do you use universals to tip them over. And those universals are really hard to come by. So I want you to be just really cautious, really careful. As you're making your way later into the game, I mentioned combos with infantry. I didn't mention Charles Martel. Of course you can use Charles Martel. Weave him into those combos. Alex Charles is a great combo. You want to do that? You can use that. It's very good. But for spending your universals, I just want to so strongly encourage you to focus on other commanders. It's not that an expertise Charles Martel isn't good. It's that the second you expertise him, every sculpture you get beyond that point becomes wasted. And if you're in a KVK, you're in war, then go for it. But I've oriented this guide toward free-to-play players. Yeah, the pay-to-win players, they should go for this. They've got a garrison with this. That's their job. That's what they're there for. They're protecting you and the kingdom. But if you're free-to-play, hey, you got options. You work to your heart's desire. That's what you do. Hopefully this guide was helpful in steering you one way or another, depending on your specialization of choice, or you're just looking for general good stuff. We gave that guidance as well. Overall, I've made recommendations for what I would argue are some of the strongest legendaries in the game. I've avoided talking about the very end game, commanders like Chandragupta, and also, I mean, Chandragupta is very good, you know, Nebu and Cyrus. I mean, that's pretty far along. You'll get there eventually, or maybe they'll release a catch-up mechanism that gets us there sooner. However, I'd like to make the argument here that by the time those commanders show up, you'll know what you're doing. And of course, if you are spending, it is worth mentioning that there are commanders you can get in here. These are wheel commanders that will show up in here. I still think it's worth using the universals to expertise some of these commanders. However, shout outs, of course, for Richard I, Isong, Charles Martel, even El Cid, Alexander the Great. These are going to depend on your kingdom age. There will be more of these coming later. So if you're a spender, this might slightly change the context with which you invest your universals. But honestly, you could spend a lot of money getting these commanders from the shop over here. And, you know, the packs are actually, this is actually a pretty solid value pack. But overall, we'll just say that if you go free to play, you can have some really great combos. And you're probably not going to want a ton of combos as the game's designed right now. You'd rather have a few really well-equipped, really solid marches to bring to the field. If you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor. Leave a like on here. Consider subscribing for those daily Rise of Kingdoms videos. It supports the channel, and it's 100% free to you. It's like a high five going, hey, Chisgule, thank you. I appreciate you. And until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom. Leave a comment down below for what you thought of this list.